We took some measurements off camera for fuel cell. I'm not a great aluminum guy, but I think I'm gonna attack welding up an aluminum fuel tank just to see if I can do it. I've got access to a AC TIG welder that I'm gonna go and pick up. We'll get that over here and see what I can do with aluminum. It may be all right, it may be a big old mess. We'll see, I don't know. Alright, so not professional weld by any means, but I think that I'm getting into some place that I can live with. I'm gonna have to play a little bit right there. You can see I got a little funk going on. That's nothing that we can't overcome. But although it doesn't look like dimes, it does give us the nice radiused edge. Bead looks like it's pretty strong. We'll let it sit for a little bit and cool down, make sure it doesn't crack. Aluminum often has a tendency when the temperature changes for it to crack right down the middle of the two pieces that you've bonded together. We'll see how that does. I'm going to go ahead and shut cameras off for a minute, bend this other piece back around so that I can have another outside seam. Tank over there is all going to be outside seams with the exception of a couple baffles we're going to put in the inside of it to help fuel not slosh back and forth quite as fast. But we'll get another outside seam fit up here and bring you back in a second. Okay, so I ran one on that outside bead off camera, got a little hunched over on the table, wadded up a little bit, everything you're not supposed to do when you're TIG welding. And we laid this guy down. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but that looks like a respectable outside aluminum joint. I'm a little hot coming into the end here, so you can see I'm starting to get some burn away. Second piece to that puzzle was that I was down to that much rod, so that feed in was getting pretty tight to my fingers, and I was having a hard time seeing that rod coming back in. Sorry, you got some schmutz on you there. Seeing that rod and my seam relationship. So I got a little wonky with my end piece there. The walk-in at the end back here was pretty decent. I can probably feed a little bit more rod and be a little more comfortable getting back out here to this edge without blowing it away. We are down to 78 amps. I'm thinking about building a couple more sample pieces, backing that off a little bit more and see if I can get a little more control in that bead. But with that said, at least now I feel like we can move forward and maybe build something that's not going to be completely embarrassing, but we'll find out. We're back over here. Fuel tank is on the bench. I'm gonna make an attempt to tack it up, see if we can get it somewhere close to square. Fit up is a little bit weird just because all of the angles want to move. When we got it from the guy that bent it for us, it was all taped and looked all good, but he hadn't radiused the edges and cleaned them up any. So whenever we took it loose, it like one of those little nut cans that when you open it up has a little snake that shoots out.
Have some nuts. Hey, thanks. Oh!
That's kind of what happened here. Just boom! Things went a little wonky, and so I've fitted up the best I can in this corner. I'm going to tack this corner up. Then I'm going to try to kind of work my way around it to get everything back to the right shape. We'll give it a check real quick. Probably not going to leave you guys on real time much. I'll kick the time-lapse camera on for this. It's going to be a whole lot of tack and move and tack and move and tack and move, which is really going to be boring, so we won't worry about that. But enjoy the time lapse. Here we go. Drill a big old hole in this beautiful tank. Twofold. One, this is my last weld across here, and tanks have a tendency to, as the air inside of them heats and expands, to push out, and sometimes they'll bubble up the weld on the way by. So we're going to relieve that pressure by drilling this big old hole in it. Second to that, this will be our location for a fill cap that we're going to weld in it as well. So might as well just drill one big hole and get it over with. It's a nice pretty tank, and now we're going to put a big hole in it. Gutsy. I got a little plug down there in the bottom of the hole we got to fish out. Love these little guys. I don't know what they're really called. We call them routaburs, but they're a little deburring knife. The bit spins on the top of them. These things are great for taking the burr edge off of stuff like that. So we're going to get that guy, and then we've got a beautiful bung. We're going to weld in the top of that guy for a fuel cap. So we'll get her centered up the best we can. The fuel chrometer out. Alright, we'll tack this guy in. Be right back. Well, she ain't factory looking, but I think she'll pass. Got my tail kicked a little bit by this fitting in the top, welding that big old thick casting to this thinner material. Beat me up just a little bit, but I think we got it chased in there. Nobody will be too upset about it, I don't think. We'll see how bad she leaks probably when we come back from a little trip we're going to be on. Other than that, we're going to get out of here for tonight. Santa Claus showed up in a helicopter. Guess the sleigh and the reindeer had the night off. Absolutely no joke. Santa Claus just showed up in a helicopter in Cedar City.
That's how they do it in Utah, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know how much more exciting y'all want. All right, so we're back out in the shop. We got Jack. We're gonna put Jack on the spot. If you remember, Pop and I both made a prediction on how many leaks my fuel tank was gonna have. So now we're gonna make Jack guess how many leaks he thinks my fuel tank's gonna have.
You have a lot of low confidence in yourself.
You realize
Claus has more confidence in you than yourself.
Yeah. I happen to be underneath the hood when I welded all these up. Some of these look awesome. Like that one is beautiful. But I bet you nickel that one's gonna leak right there. So my guess was 10. Pop's 5.
I'm gonna go right in the middle. 7.
Jack's gonna go 7. Doesn't want to rain on anybody's parade. He probably is guessing 15 or 20 because he didn't get to watch me struggle and weld this all up. But we're gonna find center on this tank right quick, and then we will put a fitting in it, take a very, very low amount of air, like probably like maybe half a pound of air, and we'll put into this guy, and I'll get some soapy water and we'll spray on here, check for leaks. And then we're gonna make some gussets. So we have this one cut out already, but I'll take you guys through a quick theory of why I'm doing this and how I came up with this little funky design. The theory behind it first is that we're gonna lap this over the corners and then weld it all the way in, and I'll open this gap just a little bit so I can weld this seam to these outside corners. And then we're going to get some 1-inch pieces of aluminum, drill and tap those guys, and then we'll weld these. These will actually be on the bottom of the tank, which is down here. We'll weld those drilled and tapped pieces of aluminum into this tank, or onto these scab plates on the tank, and they'll be the actual mount locations that the tank will be bolted to the chassis on. My theory, it might be right, it might be wrong, is that the stress load will be distributed over a larger area and the tank will have less tendency to crack in that attachment point area. And on top of that, it gives me a little more of a thickness to weld to, so I can probably put a little more heat into that weld without worrying about poking holes in my tank. But so we'll build several of these. We have some of those plates that we got. Originally we were going to put baffles inside of here, but talking to some guys, because we're going to run the holly mat, we don't really need the baffles. We're just going to run the holly mat on an angle across the tank, and they say that it should pick up everything, scavenge just fine out of that. So we'll test their theory. So let's poke a hole in this brand new fuel tank. Totally honest with you, this really doesn't matter much as long as this thing bites, because we're going to be putting such a low pressure of air in it. It should just stay. Jack said like deer. I don't see any.
Well,
Yep, there's one. Then we shall go to war. You know what that reference is from?
what was it?
And now we shall go to war.
No.
It's a Pirates of the Caribbean reference.
And so, we shall go to war.
When they were sitting in the pirate council around the table, and he said, "Now we shall go to war." His voice was all squeaky. The Windex made a nice clean table. Take these guys.
All those OCD people are gonna be like, you gotta clean the whole table now. Where's that Sharpie?
Jack doesn't want to try to squint and see the lines. He also doesn't want to have to put his head down by the material to see the lines. Throw it in the saw, chop that. Throw it in the saw, chop that. And then all we'll have to do is cut. Look, you guys will be so proud of us. We actually made a double pigtail plug so we can have two things plugged in at the same time now. We don't have to do the plug swap every time we try to do something. I don't know who was more excited about it, me or Pop. Although Pop poked a hole in his hand doing it though. He stuck a flat-bladed screwdriver all the way to the bone in his hand. Gutsy. All right, let's make a bunch of noise. So I drill the hole in the corner right here because I don't care that one of these tabs has a little radial lip in it, and then I can get my saw in here. Cut down. So we'll just come in here.
That one still leaks. Oh shoot, the whole thing leaks.
Good morning. It's Saturday morning. We're back out in the shop. We are going to continue on our fuel tank. I've got, probably saw earlier, I've got these little edge pieces that are going to go on here as a load distribution area. And then we have this piece that we machined down. We're going to drill and tap into the end of this guy. Cut them into approximately 1 inch long, maybe 1.25 inch long bosses, and then we'll weld them to the side of our load distribution plate. Weld them around here. That way the actual load for supporting of the tank is pushed out over this entire area and not in this little 1 inch round purchase point. That's my theory, at least. We'll see. Then we will come over here and we'll evict this seat. We'll build some tabs coming up off the chassis that'll have holes in them. Bolt will go through it into this here block, and that's how our tank will mount in our buggy. Just getting things set up out here, back in it, my head around what we need to do, but we'll take you along and show you what we're doing. Let's go. All right, so the tank is welded up. You guys can beat me up over my ugly aluminum welds, but like I told you guys, I am not great at aluminum. Shops wanted about $1,000 or more to weld up a tank like this, and I figured, what the crud, I guess we could do it. So we went and got the machine, had the material bent up, and away we went. We managed to get all the leaks sealed up, got the corners scabbed on there, got our bosses installed. Next, we're going to have to build some stanchions
off of our chassis to mount those bosses to. I'll have to pick up some more material. Didn't get that picked up, mainly because I hadn't decided what I wanted to do yet. But Jack only smashed his finger once today. Actually, no finger. He managed to smash the palm of his hand with a hammer. So
It doesn't hurt anymore.
he only leaked a little bit. So one of us bled today. Today it wasn't me. Yet.
Unlucky.
All right, we're out of here for now. We'll catch you in a bit. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you on the next one.